Hello, and thank you for watching Accelerate with Nerdio. In today's lesson, we're going to discuss the settings blade and options in Nerdio Manager for MSP. As always, please visit help.nerdio.net for access to all of our amazing content and videos. And with that, let's jump right in. So, when we first add an environment, it's going to ask us things like the tenant, the subscription, and we're going to point to a resource group and a network, right? A single choice during account adding. But it's possible you might have multiple networks, multiple resource groups in those subscriptions within that single tenant. And so we want you to be able to point back to them, right? So Nerdio can manage them, right? So we're just linking and telling Nerdio Manager, hey, these are okay for you to see, manage, and place resources as needed. So if I have more than one resource group or more than one network, or even if I create them after I've added the account, I want to come here to Azure Environment, click Link. I'll be able to view them. And so I'm just going to grab a few as an example. I'll hit OK here. I'll hit Link here, and I'll choose a network. We'll give these just a moment to run tasks. And, the real difference that you're going to see here, I'll go to Host Pools. I'll go to Manage Hosts. And if I do something simple like Add Host, I'll notice that I now have a network and a resource group option. These are not going to show up if you only have one set because there's no reason for you to select anything, right? It's going to use that single option. So now that I've got multiple networks and multiple resource groups that I'm using Nerdio Manager to see and manage, I can determine where this lands. And this is also important if we go to, we'll go back here for 1 second. If we go to servers, right? Let's use that as a reference. I can actually see that I have resource group filtering now because I've got multiple resource groups. And you'll see that in network and other areas, right? Whereas this normally would have just had one that it was viewing from. Now I can be like, okay, I'm going to look at all, or maybe I'm just looking in one, right? There's nothing in this resource group. But if I look at my other resource group, there's a server. So just understanding that is important. And again, that is settings, Azure environment, resource groups, and networks. Now, if we look at the Nerdio environment, we just have one option right now. And this is as of version 0.7. Local admin credentials. So basically, whenever a VM gets created, we allow you to create a local admin account, right? This is a huge security blanket in case you can't get to the domain, right? If you've got some kind of authentication issue and your domain credentials aren't going to allow you access to that machine, or maybe that machine's off domain, right? Whatever has caused you to not have that pathway to authentication, the local account allows you to still get in. So you can actually establish what that user will be named and what the password is across any host that's going to get created. So really important, definitely something that you want to go in and set up once your account is created. And then the last one is integrations, right? So this is super important, right? We're thinking about directory, file storage if you're using Azure Files, so being able to have those options available. Profile storage, so this is going to set a default when VMs get created, and then we just recently added Azure Insights. So let's go, left to right here. Active Directory. So when we first configured, right, we pointed back to an existing AD or AADDS, or we created a new one. So if we've got other directory or identity that we need to have access to leverage in Nerdio Manager for MSP, we're going to add it here, right? So we're going to put the domain and then the username and password needed, right, to be able to authenticate that, as well as an OU if needed for that directory. And then that, of course, will make that an option in some of our functions. Azure Files is pretty much the same, right? We can actually click on these and it'll take us to Azure to be able to manage them. If we need to, we can add these as well. So we can actually create a new Azure Files storage. FS Logic. So as you should be aware, when a VM gets created, you have the option to allow Nerdio Manager to install the FS Logic utility on that VM. And we can also define some configuration options, right? There's some registry options and the profile path. So specifically, if you're using Azure Files or if you're using file storage container, right, you're going to want to, by that I mean a file server, you're going to want to put that UNC path here. And so that will actually get implemented on the hosts. And then Azure Monitor, right, we can just see that currently this is the ability to turn it on, and you can actually set up a workspace. We'll have a video dedicated to this as well. So again, integrations are the things surrounding the environment, right, that you want to make sure that Nerdio Manager for MSP has access to. So with that, let's do a quick review. Okay, so quick review. The Azure environment section is going to show your primary tenant, your subscriptions, and allow you to add resource groups and networks for management. The Nerdio environment section is going to allow you to set local admin credentials for your hosts and machines. And then integrations allows you to add additional directory, add additional Azure files, and configure your profile storage location and some reg settings, as well as enable and do some configuration of Azure Monitor Insights. As always, thank you again for watching this video, and please visit help.nerdio.net for access to more videos and articles like these. Thank you.